What's up, guys, and welcome to another episode number 5
Five.
of Pastors in Perkatory. I'm Pastor Daniel,
Pastor Brian.
and we are the pastors at Trinity United Methodist Church on 903 Forest Avenue. We're really glad we get to spend this time with
In
all of
Henrico.
you. Yeah, Henrico. I hear that. That's what they keep
That's
telling
good.
me. It says that on my business card,
Yes.
I think. Yeah.
So here we have a coffee challenge to see if we can figure out the coffee, and then we follow up with a little bit of discussion on theology or what's coming up or going on around us. So, coffee first.
Coffee first. Let's do it.
Some notes and some.
Well, it's definitely coffee.
Ooh.
I've been so wrong that I'm scared of saying anything.
We've been close a couple times.
I was like trying to answer the last few. I've been like trying to answer math problems, and it turns out that it was a question for English or something like that.
This has it almost has a caramely note in it somewhere.
We like caramel.
It does a caramely note, yeah.
Okay. Well, I was gonna guess that, but then I was scared because last time I guessed
Well,
caramel.
go
was,
with your
last
taste buds, dude.
time I guessed caramel, it was toffee. If you guys like watching train wrecks, watch me trying to identify coffee. It'll be a fun time.
I'm not quite sure what else is there. It's not just caramel. There's something else in there, but I'm struggling to figure out what the other notes are in this.
So it's Barney's Santa's White Christmas. Did I get that right? Okay.
What was that again? Barney's?
Yeah. And
Barney's brand, Santa's White Christmas.
And we have no idea what that means. Oh, coconutty, caramel, and vanilla. I got one of them right, almost by accident. If you've ever watched,
It's actually, I mean, I like it. I'm just
Yeah,
not,
yeah.
I couldn't quite identify it all, but it works. Interesting.
If you've ever watched a really bad movie and enjoyed that, you should watch me trying to identify coffees.
There you go.
Apparently, that's kind of where we are.
So sometimes it's hard to figure out the present. But,
I see where you're going. with this.
But sometimes it's even harder to figure out for us the future unless we happen to have prophets help us.
Oh yeah, well, and it so happens we do have one.
We
coming
do.
around.
So
yeah.
we have a season coming up, right?
We do.
So
We
it's
do.
a season of Advent that starts this week. So for those that might not be in the know, Advent is the season of preparation before Christmas. So it's 4 weeks of getting ready, of preparing ourselves, of listening, of trying to get ourselves both spiritually and maybe physically even ready for this nativity of the birth of Christ that we celebrate at Christmas. So that's what Advent is. And we're doing a little series, aren't we?
We are, and I think to your point, like there's a sense that when God comes into our midst, right, it's not just an ordinary day. That's an event that requires several weeks of kind of getting ready for that, and so. We have a worship series, sermon series planned for that. It's called In the Days to Come. And we're doing something, I think it's a little bit unconventional. You would know better than I would, but it's a little bit unusual, but I'm really excited about it. We're going to spend the next 3 weeks, pulling from the book of Isaiah, which is an Old Testament book, before jumping into Luke for a quick second the Sunday before Christmas.
So for the real big theology nerds, Isaiah can be broken up into 3 sections because they're written at 3 different times, and all 3 of the passages we're talking about are actually in First Isaiah, which is a much earlier writing when Isaiah was in the court of Ahaz, and lots of doom and gloom, but lots of hope as well. And these passages are all from the hope parts.
So there's a lot of really interesting kind of subtext going on here where Isaiah is writing in the context of a war. There is a regional superpower that's becoming kind of looming larger and larger and larger.
Way up to the north.
And there's regional conflict kind of in response to that. It reminds you almost of the way that like maybe people talked about like nuclear weapons in the 50s, right? In the sense of
That's fair.
A sense of if it comes, it's going to be we know that it will be really bad. We just don't know when it's going to happen or if it's going to happen.
Right, and so the whole part of First Isaiah alternates between these images of doom and gloom and destruction, especially since Ahaz is becoming aligned with this kingdom to the east, which he's told not to do by the prophet, and he doesn't listen because he's feel more comfortable going with earthly power than he does with trusting in godly power. So it's doom and gloom, followed by passages of hope and to what to look for in the middle of that, followed by more doom and gloom, and then more hope, and then right. So right, exactly. And so these passages that we're looking at in the next few weeks are the hope passages. Yes. Mm-hmm. And of course, then they're hijacked, aren't they? They're hijacked.
My pet peeve. Yeah.
Exactly. They're looked at post-Christ as referring to Christ, even though Isaiah wouldn't have even had that in his mind when he wrote these pieces.
So this to me is, and Brian and I have been talking a whole lot about the history here over the last couple hours, couple of days, couple of weeks, and I know that's something you spend a lot of time in teaching a Bible study.
Just in an Isaiah Bible study on this.
My contribution to this discussion is to point out that so often the past, even like the term Emmanuel, right? It's so often associated with Christ, and that comes out of Isaiah. I think I got that right. I know it's in Isaiah. I don't know if it starts there, but it's used a lot in Isaiah. And there are a lot of passages in Isaiah that are often kind of dropped into or moved into the Advent lectionary, and the association has gotten so deep that people forget. There's no reason to believe that the prophet Isaiah, if there was such a person, whoever wrote the book, right? There's no reason to believe that person would have been in any way talking about Jesus, which it's more likely, from what I was taught when I was in seminary, it's more likely that that's a reference to a contemporary king who would come in and save the situation, and that ended up not happening. But to me, what's so compelling about that is that even in the midst of the crisis that's going on, and even in the midst of the text's, in some ways you could say, incorrectness, that there's still hope and meaning that's found in that. They were looking for the right thing, they just weren't looking for it in the right place. And we believe in the church that right place is Bethlehem, and that right time is the birth of Jesus, and that right person is Jesus. And so, this is going to be a really interesting couple of weeks, I think, for us to look at faith, and what does it mean to trust in God? What does it mean to trust in ourselves as opposed to God? What does it mean when we think we're trusting in God and we believe that God is leading us in a certain direction, only to then find out that actually that was the direction we thought, and perhaps that God has something planned for us that's much, much greater than we could have imagined or anticipated.
Yeah, which feeds into that Advent theme of waiting. So that
it's not
there is hope, but we have to wait for it, and we hate waiting. Mm-hmm. We're terrible at it as people, but that's what Advent's all about. That's what Isaiah is all about in these passages. So come see what's going on and see how this fleshes out and see how we work this into our Advent celebration. Again, at
Trinity United Methodist Church, 903 Forest Avenue in Rico, Virginia. We would love to see you. Our church service times during the season of Advent will be 9 o'clock, our modern service, 11 o'clock, our traditional service,
right.
10 o'clock is our discipleship hour.
We also have it on live stream. So if you go to the website, you can watch it there live or record it even if you're not quite awake then.
And we have a YouTube page as well.
We do, and a Facebook page. So you might have found this video there. So, but like us, share us, let the world know about what's going on, and come join us in person at Trinity while you're at it, where the coffee and the hearts are warm.
Coffee and hearts are warm, y'all. Come see us.